Welcome back for another episode of the Ross Bolen podcast. I am that guy, pal. Joined as always by the man that people call J-Bone, Jared Borislow.
Hi.
Jared, have you seen this new Dahmer show on Netflix?
I have not. You know, I do prefer a nice documentary, but I've not checked this one out yet.
It's about notorious serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Are you familiar?
Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah. Wisconsin, famously.
Yeah, so fun fact, I was at a fraternity party back in 2012.
At the University of Wisconsin?
At the University of Wisconsin. We had Gorilla Zoe perform.
Wow.
And
did he perform Echo?
He did perform Echo.
I love that song.
Echo.
You did it to yourself. Now you're all by yourself. Yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah, great song. He also performed his other hit. It escapes me.
I don't know it.
There's another one.
I just know Echo, which is good enough for me, frankly.
And then he performed a song called Jeffrey Dahmer. And he's in...
Oh, I recall this.
He's in Madison, which...
Ooh.
There's probably at least a 10% chance that somebody at this 400-person party is related to one of the victims, right?
I mean, maybe, yeah, or it has some connection.
Well, all I remember about the song was he just repeatedly kept saying, Jeffrey Dahmer, Jeffrey Dahmer.
Yeah, I'm looking it up. I want to know what the chorus was. It says, "I'll eat your ass alive like my name is Jeffrey Dahmer."
Yeah.
Which isn't actually accurate because I don't think Dahmer ever ate anyone alive. He was kind of a coward in that way. He drugged most of his victims, if not all of his victims that I'm aware of, so that they were unconscious when he did all of the things to them because he said he didn't want them to suffer. He was a psychopath and a coward. But there is this new show on Netflix about Dahmer, and there's been some controversy around it because basically, before it aired, Netflix was claiming it would give a voice to Jeffrey Dahmer's victims, while some of those victims' family members are now claiming this entire series is re-traumatizing. And to quote one of those family members on Twitter, it's re-traumatizing over and over again. And for what? How many movies, shows, documentaries do we need? And that's what I really wanted to talk about today. First of all, I'm watching this thing because I'm a big Evan Peters fan. Okay, and that's who's playing Jeffrey Dahmer.
What else is he in? I'm not
He's in
familiar.
American Horror Story, like all of the seasons, I think. But he's done other stuff. He's really good. And I enjoy his work. And I'm a fan of his. I was intrigued by him playing Jeffrey Dahmer. And frankly, at this point, just as part of what I do for my profession, talking about TV and movies as much as I do, I'm interested in like the angle. I was like, okay, what are they going to do? Because this has been done over and over and over to their family members' points. Like, I as I'm watching this, the TV show, I think I'm 4 episodes in, and there have been multiple, probably 5 or 6 moments where I'm like, I remember seeing this done in one of the other recent things I saw about this guy. So I already knew this part. Like, I already know all of this stuff. And the weird thing with the show, like, it's not just that it's being overdone at this point. We're almost treating him like he's Batman or something. Like, how many different Batman movies do we need? How many different Jeffrey Dahmer movies and documentaries and podcasts do there have to be? Because a lot of our weird-ass population, I'm a huge true crime fan, right? I'm fascinated by it. I watch documentaries about it too. I love it. It's entertaining to me, but it's not only that. It's the psychological side of it that is fascinating. And that's why people are so into Dahmer. Because you want to know, like, what would motivate another human being
Yeah, you can tell that
to do these things.
I thought this was a documentary. I had not yet watched it or like watched a trailer. I didn't know this was a biopic, or as you would say, a biopic. Just so we're clear, it's biopic. It's not biopic. It's a biographical picture.
Yeah, I know something's wrong with my brain, but different things than were wrong with Dahmer's brain for sure.
I hope so.
Why do you think people are so obsessed with this guy?
I think, like you said, it's one of those serial killers. Number one, American. It's always big for people. They got the USA pride, but it's not really pride. But they
see that's weird though.
Yeah, it's like he grew up like me in America, land of opportunity.
Yeah,
and then I think
he was kind of a good-looking white dude too. Is that part? Like, it's just like plenty of people have killed a bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? We don't laud them all the way for whatever reason we do with Jeffrey Dahmer and some of our other serial killers, but like him more than any other, it seems.
To me, I don't think Jeffrey Dahmer is the most fantasized about. I think it's that good-looking Florida State guy.
What was his name?
It's not John Wayne Gacy. That was the Chicago guy who there was just a documentary series on. It's the guy who Zac Efron played.
Okay, I'll Google Zac Efron serial killer. That'll do it.
Whatever that guy's name was.
Zac Efron serial killer movie. Oh, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, I think, is the most, because he was supposed to be like a.
You're right. He was charismatic and picked up like sorority girls at the Chi Omega house and shit,
or whatever he did. Yeah, people loved him, and then he like escaped from jail like at least once.
Right. Him and Dahmer are both. I mean, okay, I'll say like Dahmer is given attention in a different way, sort of for being the most like psychotic almost, right? Because of the eating thing, because of the cannibalism.
Did he make like lampshade and stuff? Is that him?
I don't think so.
Maybe
that was
Hannibal Lecter guy.
It's possible. I haven't gotten to that episode yet.
What was the Hannibal Lecter?
I thought that was Buffalo Bill in The Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that guy
that makes you into a lampshade.
Yeah.
Or penis flap.
Doesn't he like lotion himself up or something?
I think he takes someone else's skin and covers his own genitals with it. I'm not really sure. It was a bit confusing I watched it when I was too young, probably. But also, again, recently, it's quite a good film. I still couldn't put my finger on what was wrong with, or what it was that Buffalo Bill was trying to accomplish exactly. You know what I mean?
Sexual gratification had to be.
His weird, very illegal motives escaped me. But in this case, with back to what we were talking about, yes, I agree with you. Ted Bundy is the guy that is seen as like the handsome serial killer. That's not necessarily Dahmer. Dahmer is just more of a fucking weirdo in terms of like people are fascinated by what motivated him to what made him the way he was, right? When you hear about somebody doing something horrifying, a human being doing something inhumane, part of you wonders psychologically what would drive you to even be capable of such an act, right? And that is for sure part of the reason that people are so obsessed with Jeffrey Dahmer, because he ate people by choice. He was a fucking loon.
With a nice Chianti.
And some farva beans.
It's fava. Isn't that the guy from Super Troopers? Farva?
Farva beans, dude. And a liter of cola. But he drugged all of his victims, like I said, and mostly by giving them drinks that he slipped shit into, which is just super, super lame, obviously.
Some Bill Cosby shit.
Yeah, and the new show with Evan Peters is solid, but it's definitely still kind of like, I could see people walking away being like, oh, okay, so he had a really shitty childhood and his mom did drugs, so he killed people. Like, there's some justification there or something. Because it's kind of telling, like, Jeffrey's side of the story. You know what I mean?
So we don't know if we need to know.
I don't know if the victim, like, how they ever expected the victims to be cool with this.
Like, I don't want to be like,
you're sympathizing with this kid who had, like, no doubt, a shit childhood. But so many people have shit childhoods and don't go on to eat the other human beings.
I don't need to know Hitler's side of the story. Like, I think I get it.
Right, and it's like, again, maybe the base psychology of it, like, what are the things, okay, what happened to this guy so that we can avoid creating another one of these, right? That's the idea for me, is like, okay, what did society do? Where did we fail this person that it turned into this monster?
That's why Hitler made it so that art schools don't have a 100% acceptance rate.
Point being, like, you want to understand these monsters psychologically on some level so that you can avoid creating another one. But this show ends up being like, it just, I don't know. I feel like we're all looking for the reason why Jeffrey Dahmer could exist. And I'm not sure his story is where we find that answer necessarily. Like, you need to zoom out and look at society as a whole, probably, and you'd also need to know, like, the inner workings of that man's heart, like why he chose to act on some of the impulses he chose to act on and do what he did is not something 99% of us are ever going to understand or be able to wrap our heads around, like, or fathom as sane people. He was not well. That much we know. Like, on a chemical level, like, on the fact that his mom did drugs or may have been on a shit ton of pills, it turns out, when she was pregnant with him, like, that shit, obviously, there were obvious missteps that we can avoid at a very basic human level to not get another Jeffrey Dahmer. So I don't know how much we need to explore, like, whether or not he was bullied in school. Plenty of people are bullied in school. Whether or not he had good parents. Plenty of people have shitty parents. Like, those are not necessarily excuses to eat the other humans, Jared. They're not food. They're friends.
Yep.
Like in Finding Nemo with Bruce the shark, who's partially who Bruce is named after.
P. Sherman, 42 Wallaby Way, Sydney.
That's amazing branding that we all remember that shit. The fucking address.
Is that an actual address?
If that's a real place, they have to be just inundated with fucking fan mail. But it's annoying.
People trying to come free the fucking fish. They're like, come on, man. It's a beta fish.
We're a real aquarium trying to operate here. The Deep from The Boys is in there trying to fuck the octopi. You don't watch The Boys, no. Do you? See? Now I get to make a reference you don't know about.
Shark bait. Ooh ha.
What is that from?
It's also Finding Nemo.
It's not Finding Dory?
No, that's the first one. I haven't seen Finding Dory. Do they find Dory?
Finding Dory is the second one.
Do they find Dory? Don't ruin it. I don't want to know.
I mean, I think you know they always find whoever is in the title.
Yeah, it wouldn't be very Disney if they just fucking like, fuck, Dory's dead.
This isn't 1987 Disney where they're executing Bambi's mom to open the movie.
Yeah.
That's the trauma that you and I have to carry, but hopefully not the next generation.
Or there's a lot of traumatizing
fucked up movies, dude. Brave Little Toaster's one I bring up all the time. It's not behind me today, but that movie that really messed me. Like I'm serious. Like I will not show that to my kids. At any age. Maybe when they're like in their 30s, I'll be like, do you want to do edibles and watch this fucked up movie that I had to watch when I was a kid? You know what I mean? But not until then. And I'll be well into my 60s at that point.
Are you going to read I Love You So Much to your baby?
Why are you doing this to me, dude?
I'm just wondering.
Oh, God. I fight back the emotions, Ross. Yeah, no, I mean, maybe. I'm going to have to see how I do. Because I don't know, man. Like, I'm an emotional basket case.
Well, you can practice reading it when it's a baby and it can't understand you and see how you do.
I can't. It's over there in the corner. I can see it. I can feel its presence. It's like the ring in Lord of the Rings. Like just being near it, it calls to me.
It is looking at you.
And I like just looking at it, I can feel the tear build up like happening in my ducts and I don't like it. All right? So probably not. Just because I don't want my kid to be staring up at me like, what's wrong with you, Daddy? Why are you bawling uncontrollably, weeping? For 30 minutes now, you've been crying. We're 2 pages in. We're never going to finish this book. I don't want to let my kid down, you know?
Yeah. Could use some therapy to maybe work past those emotions.
I feel like that'll be a 3-4 session thing. That'll be real expensive to get past. Yeah, I'd rather just not read the book, you know? Is what I mean to say. I really don't think I will. There was a couple other books that like me and my wife, when my stepdaughter was when she was like a 1-year-old, like that we had to kind of ban in our house because of the LGBTQ plus themes that they no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, you got in trouble with the HOA. You were burning those in the backyard, weren't you? Along with a briefcase full of porn.
In the Bible. We had a Bible book burning. I threw my briefcase in there just to get rid of it now before my children are of age to explore the garage. I don't want to happen to them what happened to me.
Yeah.
You know?
It's fair.
So you try to avoid the same pitfalls as your parents. I made that note as a young child. Don't store your porn in a briefcase in the garage on top of an old 1967 Mustang. Shit was in my garage for like 15 years. It was not drivable. It just rotted away. And then at some point, I think we had it towed to a dumpster. It may have led to my parents' divorce. I remember my mom. Get rid of that fucking car.
Was your dad supposed to
Steve, why is this car in the garage?
Wait, was he supposed to be like fixing it up?
I think that was initially the plan. And then it just kind of like fell to the wayside. You know, life happened or whatever. He probably had me. And I ruined that dream. I destroyed it for him.
He's trying to buy a fucking muffler and he's like, God, I gotta buy fucking diapers.
That's what happens though, man. One day you think you're gonna fix up the 1967 Mustang in your garage. The next thing you know, you're hiding porn in a briefcase. Cranking in behind your house, probably. Who knows?
Somebody cranking in the Mustang?
I don't know, man.
I imagine like Dukes of Hazzard. He's like reaching his arm out the window to the roof of the car where the briefcase is, and then bringing it. I'm not saying Steve was doing this.
All right, let's not spend any more time talking about my old man cranking. It's probably upsetting to me on some therapeutic level. Talking about Jeffrey Dahmer.
It's a good segue.
Back to Dahmer. But yeah, it is starting to feel like we're treating him like he's the GOAT serial killer, like like Michael Jordan of murder. And if one of my family members was a victim of Jeffrey Dahmer, I'd probably be pretty frustrated at this point. Just because it's like, I mean, even in the show, they do a decent job. They have one of the black cops like call attention to the fact that Dahmer preyed on the most vulnerable in society, mainly poor gay minorities, like for the most part. But the show does still kind of come off as like this Joker-esque character analysis of Dahmer in his personal life. It's not some tribute to the victims. And in that way, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like, you know how in Mind Over Murder, or what was it? Making him? No, what was the most
Which
recent
one?
Making
Mind Over Murder was the one with the Beatrice Six.
The Beatrice Six in the play.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those questions. Is like, does this just reopen more wounds? I mean, in the case of Dahmer, nobody's trying to solve anything. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm saying. That play that they put on in Beatrice was like in an effort to close wounds. This is not that. It's like, and as to defend Evan Peters to some degree here, if I was an actor, I could see how it's very enticing to play the role. Like, I don't know, at the same time, probably dangerous, again, psychologically, to go there.
Yeah.
Like it was for Heath Ledger to play the Joker.
And like it was for Zac Efron to play Bundy.
Did he do murder?
No, actually what Zac Efron did do, though, was he was supposed to play a fraternity guy in a movie.
Oh, yeah, he did play a fraternity guy.
He
did
developed
cocaine.
Yeah, he developed a cocaine addiction. He had to go to rehab afterwards.
Method acting right there.
He's a method actor.
Yeah, I do remember that. Now he's being accused of making his face bigger.
Yeah, I saw that too. Looks like The Weeknd on his album.
What's going on there?
I saw some. Apparently, they said that he.
It's too much filler, I think. Is what that's called.
So apparently he had like some face surgery like right around that time, and it made him. Now he's back to normal.
Okay,
but people
he
thought
was swollen.
Yeah, I thought The Weeknd that he did great doing that big face thing. So I thought that was real, and then I found out it was just like promotion for his album or music video.
Yeah, it's like a 4-year stretch there where he was dressing and or straight up changing his appearance altogether in a way to do marketing stuff, and it kind of got old.
What's your favorite The Weeknd song?
Ooh, you'd have to go way back to like House of Balloons, because I listened to The Weeknd before he was even famous,
dude,
bro.
That's so sick. Dude.
He was still so underground, dude. It wasn't even like you couldn't stream his shit on like it was before that.
Oh man,
it wasn't on Spotify, none of that. It was like you had to know. I think it was SoundCloud. You had to have like your buddies send you House of Balloons. Let me look at some of his old shit. Why? What's your favorite?
I'm kind of a normie. I like In the Night, and then that song he did with Daft Punk, and that song he did with Ariana Grande.
I like The Hills. When I'm fucked up, that's the real
I don't like
me.
that song.
I like that song.
I do not like was it Wicked Games?
Wicked Games is a great song.
Don't like that song.
Why?
I don't know. Overplayed.
What? I like his Dirty Diana, you know, because that was a great Michael Jackson song, and because I don't fuck with Michael Jackson anymore. I like The Weeknd's rendition of that. He is our Michael Jackson. He's the new Michael Jackson. Yeah. He's the non-pedo Michael Jackson.
Like, it's not a coincidence that The Weeknd got famous right after Michael Jackson got canceled.
Blinding Lights went really, really hard, and still does.
I don't like that song either.
Okay, what do you like from him, Jared?
In the Night, the song with Daft Punk, and the one with Ariana Grande.
Daft Punk also not together anymore. I don't know why I said also.
Who else?
Don't know. Don't really know. But yeah. Anyway, I'm probably gonna finish the first season just to see like is this a multiple season show? I don't even know. Maybe it is. And if that is the case, it's even weirder. The whole thing is just a little weird. We're in a weird space as a country. With our pop culture shift towards all this true crime and murder. And like I don't know. It doesn't help. It's not good timing. In terms of the 24-hour news cycle and the internet and what social media is doing to us on the whole, when you got this whole other, all of us watching true crime shit and finding out about the murders and the suicide and the serial killers, it's not great for the psyche. Speaking of which, today's episode is brought to you by Talkspace. It's important to prioritize your mental health and wellness every day, because when you work on yourself, you'll start to see and feel positive changes in all areas of your life. The long-term effects of therapy can give you the tools to deal with the challenges as they arise, strengthen your relationships, and give you a more optimistic outlook on life. There's no better time to invest in yourself than right now. Talkspace lets you send messages to your dedicated therapist in the Talkspace platform, which allows you to update them on the challenges and triumphs you're facing in real time, so you don't have to wait for your next session, which is one of the things about therapy that can be challenging. Like, I go every couple weeks to my therapist, but if I have something come up in the interim, oftentimes it can be, I'll forget before I can even have like my next session, and then that's difficult because I don't get to work on it. That's what's nice about Talkspace. You can message them whenever. You can set goals with your therapist. They hold you accountable, make sure you're really progressing, and they can help you shift your perspective, find tools to cope in difficult times, and be a guiding light overall. I've been in therapy for over a decade. Can't more highly recommend it. But obviously, it can be daunting. I understand that. Getting started is way less daunting with Talkspace. They make connecting with a licensed therapist easy, so you can stop setting aside your own mental well-being. And as a member of the RBP gang, you'll get $100 off your first month with Talkspace. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com. Just make sure you use the code RBP to get $100 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's RBP at Talkspace.com for $100 off your first month.
Grab your light. This is Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
Stop the Wikipedia when you're high.
Today's Stuff the Wikipedia when you're high is Nasubi. Full name, Tomoaki Hamatsu. Tomoaki Hamatsu, I did it. Better known as Nasubi, which means eggplant. He's a Japanese comedian represented by Office K. Tomoaki Hamatsu was challenged to stay alone, unclothed, in an apartment for a Japanese reality television show after he won a lottery for a show business related job. Okay, bear with me here. This is an absurd story. All right, so this guy was challenged to enter mail-in sweepstakes until he won 1,000,000 yen, I believe. It says about $10,000 in the United States dollar total. So he starts with nothing. All right, he thinks this is for a reality TV show. All right, that he again won a lottery to be a part of. And he starts with no clothing. He's cut off from the outside world, all communication and broadcasting. He has nothing to keep him company except the magazines he combed through for sweepstakes entry forms, okay?
Okay, so
yes.
Just so I'm understanding this.
Yes.
So they said, "Hey, you've been selected for this game show. The object of the game show is you're in this apartment. You have absolutely nothing.
No
you're
internet,
completely
no
naked,
phone, no
internet.
news.
All you have are magazines through which you need to enter every sweepstakes in these magazines
To try to get stuff.
to try to start
Yes,
from zero.
to accumulate stuff.
It's like when you're in Minecraft, you start off
The
with
challenge
nothing.
being, if you had nothing in life and you went off just sweepstakes, could you progress? Right? He's being filmed, obviously, for this reality TV show, okay? And it takes him 335 days to reach his target, which is kind of pathetic, honestly. $10,000, that's so long. But then again, we're talking about having to win sweepstakes here. But he did end up setting the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest time survived on competition winnings alone.
What about food?
I mean, he got the food from competition winnings, I think.
No,
Let me read.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so Tomoaki Hamatsu lived in front of the camera with only the possessions he won via the sweepstakes, save for basic utilities such as running water, heating, and electricity, and stacks of postcards and magazines required for entering the sweepstakes. Due to his nudity, an eggplant cartoon graphic covered his genitals when he was standing on camera, okay? Nasubi is a Japanese word for eggplant. That's the nickname that was chosen due to his 30-centimeter long face shaped like a Japanese eggplant, apparently. That's what they put over his...
Eggplant face?
Yeah,
They're
so...
saying he's got a face like an eggplant.
As well as the producers had to cover his genitals with an animated eggplant for the television audience. Apparently that was the other reason for the nickname, okay. Tomoaki Hamatsu believed that he was being recorded and that the show would be rebroadcast later once the footage had been gathered. In reality, he was live streamed with footage compiled and re-aired each week, complete with sound effects present at frequent intervals, using new tech to have 24/7 television to show him live using a joystick to cover up his genitals.
So they have one guy's job was dick joystick guy
with an eggplant to cover up this dude's genitals.
There's no way they had 100% success rate. They definitely,
Absolutely not.
Definitely saw this guy's wiener.
For sure. Dick and balls had to be present on the screen at some point. But they straight up, like Truman showed this guy.
I've never seen Truman Show, but yeah, it seems like
naked.
This is what it is.
You've never seen Truman Show. It's awesome. You have to watch it.
I've heard that. But part of the Truman Show is that he doesn't know.
He doesn't know he's on camera.
And
he doesn't know he's being broadcast.
Yeah, this guy didn't know he was being broadcast.
Not really.
He thought
so
it
is
was
similar.
later.
And Truman was never nude. He wasn't a never nude like Tobias Funke, but he was just not nude on camera. So he had privacy and shit. This dude did not. Okay, at first he received no food at all. All right, no food, just drinking water, and he was losing weight. Eventually, he won some sugary drinks from his sweepstakes entries. Later on, he won a bag of rice. But having not won any pots or containers with which to heat it, he was forced to eat it raw. And after devising a makeshift heating container with a discarded bag, he was able to cook the rice by placing it into the lit stove. So they really didn't give him shit.
It's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, okay, so however, canned and kibbled dog food became his primary food source for some time after running out of rice. He started eating dog food. After winning a stuffed toy in a sweepstake, he carried on conversations with it as his sensei, as it was his only sort of interaction. So he started to go nuts and had a Wilson situation, except instead of a volleyball like Tom Hanks had in Castaway, he's got a freaking stuffed animal. He never won clothing so he could wear it, only ladies' underwear that was too small for him to use. Nor did he win anything to trim his growing facial hair and fingernails. Oh my God, this is the most depressing show of all time. Why would anybody tune in for this?
Why would you watch
What is
this?
wrong with Japanese people?
I don't know. What's worse, people putting it on or the ones watching it?
So he also won other prizes he was unable to use, like movie tickets, because he can't leave, and a bicycle, both of which would have required him to exit the apartment to utilize. He soon adapted the latter into a stationary bike,
Smart.
though. When he won a television set, he was unable to use it at first as there was no cable or antenna hookup in the apartment, intentionally by the producers out of fear he would discover he was already on TV. He would then win a PlayStation game, a train simulator, and alongside the controller he needed to play it. By this time, the show had become so popular within Japanese households that people were starting to decipher the location of his flat, with paparazzi fans and even the press standing outside without Tomoaki Hamatsu even knowing it. All right. As such, producers were forced to procure a new space far away from the original location. He was transported blindfolded, and upon uncovering his eyes, he discovered a similar living space along with all his previously won possessions.
Okay,
they
Ross.
moved all of his shit to another place, like Tekashi 6ix9ine.
2 questions. Number one, are you sure this isn't like a synopsis of a movie? Everything that is being
This is
said,
100% real. Yeah.
When was this?
2000 and what did I say at the beginning?
I didn't know there was a date mentioned at the beginning.
I think I mentioned one. If I didn't, then I will.
He was born in 1975, but it doesn't say anywhere what year this is. And this is like for me, there's a big difference between this being in like the 90s and this being like the 2010s.
Right.
In terms of its acceptance to me.
What do you mean in terms of how politically correct it was? I mean, now he's 47 years old, all right? So it says, age 47. Yeah, I don't know. 1998 to 2002, it looks like.
Oh my God. Wait, that's 4 years. It was
Yeah.
it aired over 4 years, but it was done over 335 days, I guess.
Maybe.
You want to keep reading and I'll look it up?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
But I got to find my spot. You made me scroll away from it, you dildo.
Well, sometimes the audience was wondering the answer to that question, and I was speaking for them as part of my job.
Okay, well, here's some. Next time you Google it while I'm reading.
That's what I said, yeah.
Dildo. So they had to get another space for him. They blindfold him. They take him to it. And when he's questioned if he had completed the challenge, he was instead told the change of space was for his new address to bring in more luck. Because he was like, am I done? Is it over? They were like, no, we're taking you to another space. It'll help. You'll win more sweepstake. Apparently that was the best excuse they could come up with. So he continued writing sweepstake entries, with a large chair and desk becoming his first items acquired in his new space. However, he was moved into yet another space after a long streak of misfortune in his entries. So he didn't win enough, and I guess they were like, oh shit, we got to move him again. In his new space, his TV set became useful when he later won a VCR, which could be used with 2 previous tapes he had won, and he would later win a proper PlayStation. Did you find the dates?
1998 to 2002.
Okay, cool. He would end up playing his game for multiple days straight, ultimately forcing himself to stop in order to keep entering sweepstakes and achieve his goal. That's how addicted to the PlayStation he got. After winning a set of 4 car tires worth around 84,000 yen, he closed upon his goal, which he finally achieved with a bag of rice 335 days after starting. After being informed of his victory, he was given back his clothes and blindfolded and taken to a surprise location. Happily went along believing he was going to get a special prize for his year of hard work. They removed his blindfold and he found himself in South Korea. He was given a day at an amusement park where he was able to enjoy strange food and ride on the park's multiple attractions. However, after finishing, he was taken to another apartment. He was once again asked to take off his clothes and challenged to enter sweepstakes, this time to win enough money to afford a flight with Japan Airlines to return home.
They flew him out of the country and then were like, hey, jackass, you want to get home?
However,
sweepstakes.
He quickly met his goal after several weeks of entering competitions, and it was revised multiple times. First to afford a ticket to business class, then first class. These 2 goals were also met in a matter of weeks. When he had won enough to return to Japan, he was blindfolded, clothed, and taken to another apartment in Japan. When the blindfold was removed, he looked around and instinctively took off his clothes, expecting to continue the challenge. However, the walls of the apartment fell away to reveal he was in a TV studio with a huge live audience.
Oh my God.
I would sue for every dollar the network was worth. What the hell? So, Tomoaki Hamatsu was confused because he thought the show had not yet been broadcast. The entire ordeal lasted about 15 months, during which time his diaries on his experience of being locked away from the outside world became a bestseller in Japan, and the TV show broke all records with 17 million viewers each Sunday night. It was like Our Sopranos. And he reported being hot and sweaty wearing clothes for the first 6 months after his ordeal because he didn't have clothes on that entire time. And he had difficulty carrying on conversations for a long time because he had had no one to talk to before. Yeah. Think about all the therapy this guy needs to recover.
335 days.
In the nude, on live TV.
Essentially, what's that called again? Solitary confinement.
I bet a lot of people cranked to him, too. Like, weirdly, you know?
I mean, if he's live streaming, he was jerking it
He
all.
was probably cranking a lot.
Yeah.
You'd be bored out of your mind in there. Just crank fest. Right?
What was he cranking to? I guess the magazines.
His own ass in the mirror? In April of 2020, Tomoaki Hamatsu tried persuading people to cooperate with the self-disciplined stay-at-home order during the wake of the initial COVID-19 outbreaks by citing his own personal experience with self-isolation. What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding? Are you fucking kidding?
His own ass in the mirror? What the fuck, dude?
Okay, but
what the fuck? Why would you say that? It's like oddly specific.
In 2016, he climbed Mount Everest.
Okay.
After 2 failed attempts, or actually 2 aborted trips, it says, in 2014 and 2015. Then he climbed it in 2016. Good for him. The eggplant.
There needs to be a movie about this guy. This is one of the most
How did he not sue?
This is one of the most absurd true stories I've ever heard in my life.
I can't believe he finished. He won. And they were like, no, we're getting too many viewers. How do we get this into a season 2 immediately? Let's kidnap him.
Yeah.
Let's take him to another apartment. And then by the 3rd one, he's so trained, like he has Stockholm syndrome, he just strips nude. And the walls fall away.
There's got to be video of that.
I just, like, are the Japanese super cool with nudity compared to us? Like, you can't do that. You can't. What if I had set it up to where, like, your clothes were just stripped off you right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like, arms came in from the walls, like robot arms, and ripped all your clothes off. You'd be like, haha, part of the show.
Now I'm going to be looking over my shoulder the rest
You'd
of
be
the
like,
show.
what the fuck? Ross, my dick and balls are out. These are mine. My private parts. Now they're everywhere for everyone to see. You'd be upset. He has terrible lawyers. How do media rights work in Japan? Maybe we should be in Japan. You can just fucking do anything?
This is probably one of my most favorite stuff to Wikipedia is when you're high we've ever done.
It's a pretty wild one, Jared.
I cannot believe this is not like you didn't go to Wikipedia and it said like plot and it was a movie. I cannot believe that.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, that's your stuff to Wikipedia when you're high for the day. It's Nasubi.
People are going to start looking
the
this up on
eggplant.
YouTube now, I guarantee it.
Yeah. Today's episode is also brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest way to play daily fantasy. But I get it. If you don't know what to expect, getting started on a new daily fantasy platform can be slightly stressful. Not so the case with Prize Picks. This is as easy as it gets. Here's a super quick step-by-step guide to registering on Prize Picks and placing your first entry so you can just focus on having fun and winning big. You register for an account on prizepicks.com, you make a deposit, and then you pick more or less on 2 to 5 different player stats to win payouts of up to 10x. All right, so you pick 2 to 5 players. If they score more or less than their Prize Picks projections, that's how you accumulate points.
That makes
sense. You can win up to 10x on your money on any entry, and you're not competing against other people. That's part of the fun thing here. Is it's not determined on you being able to put together an entire league or whatever. And that's the other nice part about daily fantasy, obviously, is you don't have to wait an entire season to see if you win or lose. It's just you versus the projections available on any daily basis. You could go play right now and know by the end of the day whether or not you've won. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you watch, by the way. So like right now, it's almost high tide for sports season, Jared, where we've got the NFL, baseball, MLB, and NBA, and all the college sports, obviously, at the same time.
And Formula One.
PGA. There's everything. Women's college basketball and men's college basketball are about to start up. We've got soccer. We've got esports, we've got NASCAR, we've got tennis, we've got MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket. I believe they are adding F1 as well to Prize Picks if they have not already. And you can make an entry in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. This is my first year doing daily fantasy because I'm sick of my fantasy football teams tanking and making me sad every weekend. And it was Prize Picks and their super easy to use platform and cool spin on daily fantasy that sucked me in. It is awesome. Go check it out. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to be doing some more entries, probably starting tomorrow since we've got Thursday NFL night games, but into the weekend as well. Safe and fast withdrawals, currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the Prize Picks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports now. First-time users can receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 when you use promo code RBP to support the show. So if you deposit $100, you use code RBP, Prize Picks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, Prize Picks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code RBP at sign up for that instant deposit match up to $100 on prizepicks.com or the Prize Picks app. I've got some insane headlines of the day. Here's your first one from the New York Post. Couple slammed for turning waterfall blue for gender reveal party.
It's always back to the gender reveals.
It's a Brazilian couple, and they're in hot water after they dyed a local waterfall bright blue on Sunday to announce the birth of their son during a gender reveal party. The expectant parents are now being investigated by the local government and could be charged with an environmental crime. That's one way to usher in your child, certainly. The other is by murdering someone at a gender reveal party with an explosive or incendiary device, which has been done. But this is a new one. Being charged with an environmental crime as a result of your gender reveal.
I would say the wildfire in Arizona caused by that one government
That was
agent.
bad.
That's an environmental crime.
That was an environmental crime, you're right. So this one, it says the couple who have not been identified by local media posted several photos of the Azure Kimi River waterfall along with a stork made out of balloons before deleting them after waves of backlash, because of course. So this waterfall, located near some municipality that I can't pronounce, has long been an ecological tourist destination, and according to residents, it's the main source of water for a place that just had a very long period of drought. All right, so the residents are fearing now that their water is contaminated as a result of these people, and people are calling for the couple to be charged with an environmental crime. So the Secretary for the Environment of the state of Mato Grosso released a statement saying it will investigate the couple to see if any crime was in fact committed. It says, quote, the inspection will investigate the environmental damage caused by the material thrown into the water. And if there is an environmental crime, those responsible will be charged and may be held accountable for an environmental crime. As of Tuesday, no charges were filed, though. Wouldn't you first make sure if you were going to do this that you were doing it with biodegradable, like non-harmful stuff?
Anybody with that much forethought wouldn't have a gender reveal party in the first place.
That's a good point. It takes a very special kind of person to not only think, all right, we need some surprise color explosion to tell us the gender of our child, but also we should turn a natural body of water a different color to announce that gender. That's a wild jump there.
I'm imagining this water looking like the water at like a mini golf place,
right?
It's always fucking just like weird ass blue. You're like, that's not natural.
Yeah, that doesn't look good. Yeah,
or like when you, like.
At least make it into Kool-Aid.
Well,
so it's a waterfall of Kool-Aid. The
That's
residents will love that delicious Kool-Aid water.
The blue toilet water, like in a freshly cleaned bathroom.
Some people put those things that drip the blue into their. Well, my grandma used to have one of those. Her toilet water was always this beautiful ocean shade of blue. It's weird.
Yeah, I've seen people have those. I
feel like it was an old people thing.
I don't know.
I always just assumed it was an old people thing because my grandma was always old to me. She was a grandma. She's still alive. She's still old to me. She's not listening. She's too old.
How would she get any less old than you?
I'm saying how when you're young and things are big and then you grow up and they're not as big as you thought they were, like the house you grew up in? Well, my grandma was always old to me.
Well, yeah, it's because age doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's true. That's true, Jared. Big facts, Jared. Big facts. Next headline from CNN. Meta shuts down. That's Facebook. Remember, it's the same thing.
Not Ron Artest.
No, Meta, not Meta World Peace. Meta shuts down covert influence campaigns it says were run from China and Russia. Now, this is a really interesting story. All right, it's one of those things you'd hear like probably Joe Rogan rant about or Alex Jones, but we're going to talk about it reasonably here like regular people. It says Facebook parent company Meta announced on Tuesday that it had detected and shut down 2 separate networks of fake accounts engaged in covert influence operations from China and Russia, okay? The Chinese network was small and received barely any attention, but it did include some accounts that posed as Americans on both sides of the political spectrum.
There's great people from China on both sides.
Meta publicly detailed the takedown as it remains on high alert for foreign interference in the U.S. midterm elections. Obviously, that has been a problem in the past. It is something they're trying to avoid in the future, and we, as a society, are trying to avoid. Ben Nemo, great name, Meta's global threat intelligence lead. It's funny that you have to have that. You were a simple social network, and now you have a global threat intelligence lead. Told CNN it was the first time the company had seen Chinese accounts targeting Americans in this way. Quote, they were running fake accounts that pretended to be Americans and try to talk like Americans, and they were talking about really divisive domestic issues like abortion and gun control. The company has shared details of the Chinese accounts with the FBI. The Russian campaign, on the other hand, was vast. It pushed pro-Kremlin narratives about the war in Ukraine, included thousands of accounts and pages across multiple social media platforms. It spent more than $100,000 on ads on Facebook and Instagram.
What are they going to do with that money? Are they just going to keep it?
Give it to the FBI, I hope. Meta did not, maybe not. I don't know what I hope. The FBI is not exactly the most trustworthy organization.
Donate it to charity.
Meta did not attribute either campaign to specific entities within China or Russia or the Chinese and Russian governments, instead saying only that the accounts were part of the campaigns that were run out of those respective countries. They said the network of Russian accounts it had taken down was the largest and most complex Russian operation they've disrupted since the war in Ukraine began, with a sprawling network of over 60 websites impersonating news organizations, as well as accounts on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Telegram, and Twitter, and other sites. More than 2,000 Facebook accounts and pages were part of the effort to push pro-Kremlin narratives about the war in Ukraine. More than $100,000 were spent on ads on Facebook and Instagram as part of the campaign. And it included websites that were designed to mimic real Western news outlets, including The Guardian. So I had noticed this many years ago when these fake news websites, real ones, I'm talking long before Donald Trump, when the internet realized, when people started to figure out they could capitalize by posting fake news stories that would get a whole bunch of clicks.
Yeah, be like, oh, the Denver Examiner, well, that sounds real.
Right, so they make it look like a legit news outlet. In the case of this Russian interference operation, they're attempting to look like specifically the Daily Mail, The Guardian, German outlets Bild and Der Spiegel, which is another obviously well-known one that Jared and I read every day.
Uh-huh.
And then they're building these websites, they're creating fake stories, and then they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on Facebook and Instagram to promote those stories, right? So they noted on Tuesday the website mimicking The Guardian posted an article that accused Ukraine of staging the murder of civilians during the Russian occupation of Bucha. So it's propaganda. They're pushing propaganda. And the only organizations that would really make sense to be behind this would be the Russian government.
That's what somebody who's actually behind it would say, Ross.
Or maybe that's what they want us to think, right?
Were you on the internet between the years of 2019 and 2022?
I was. What do you mean?
FBI's coming after you. Shouldn't have admitted that.
Oh, shit. Some of the accounts posed as conservative Americans, others posed as liberals living in Florida, Texas, and California. And the other interesting piece of the puzzle here to me is that I've talked a lot about how, like, obviously the more divided we are, the more it plays into the people who divide us and their grip on power. It was always fairly obvious that the next step for other countries, I mean, if you were an enemy of the United States looking at the United States, one of our most vulnerable points is the fact that we are as divided as we are. It causes our politics to be even worse. It causes everything to spiral. So obviously you would try to stir that pot. So it makes sense that these exist. But it's something to keep in mind if you're just an everyday internet user. Like, you might be watching an argument that isn't even two real fucking people, right? You've got to be really careful. Like, the comment sections on Twitter and on Reddit and on TikTok and on Facebook can be a total mess. And it's just one of those things that you know, I feel like it's not only... It's a story that's so outrageous you'd think you would hear it in some sci-fi movie or some shit. But that's where we're at, which is important just for awareness. It's also funny. Like, this is insanity. That there are government organizations spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to further push propaganda. And that Facebook is just now putting a stop to this kind of shit. Like, we did a whole presidential election where I don't think there were many checks and balances like that. They were just taking the money and running, right? I mean, God knows how much was spent during the Trump-Clinton election and the one since then.
Yeah, you probably regret donating your entire 2019 paychecks, all of them, to the Hillary Clinton campaign, don't you?
That woman got $0 in cents out of me. Zero. In fact, I don't think I've ever sent a presidential campaign any money, but I did send Coney 2012 money, and that was a mistake.
I don't know.
I think he used my money on ecstasy.
I was like, Ross, she's not even running for president in 2020. You're like, nah. You're like, nah, maybe she will. You thought you could be the difference maker.
Like, Jared, all right, I didn't give Hillary Clinton any money. We can just move on from that. But yeah, the Russians and the Chinese, man, they're out there, Jared. You know?
They're out there.
What are you going to do about it, Jared? How are you going to fix this for us?
First order of business. Free
Coney? You're going to free Coney now?
He'll unite us if we free him somehow.
Oh, man. Today's episode is also brought to you by Shopify. I actually have a ton of experience using Shopify personally. It's an incredibly easy-to-use platform if you're looking to sell anything online, merchandise for your podcast, for instance. Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Whether your thing is vintage teas or recipes for ghee, start selling with Shopify and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of your favorite businesses worldwide. With Shopify, you'll create an online store in your vibe, discovering new customers and grow that following that keeps them coming back. Shopify has all the channels sorted so your business keeps growing, from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And they've got 24/7 support, free libraries full of educational content. Shopify's got you every step of the way. It's how every minute new sellers around the world make their first sale with Shopify, and you will too. So if you've been waiting to launch that online business, start that side hustle, start bringing in more dough, Shopify is the way to go, in my personal opinion. It makes super simple to set up your new business today. When you're ready to launch your thing into the spotlight, do it with Shopify, the commerce platform backing millions of businesses down the street and around the globe. Go on, try Shopify for free and start selling anywhere. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/RBP, all lowercase there, /RBP, all lowercase. Shopify.com/RBP to start selling online today. That's SHOPIFY.com/RBP, all lowercase. This is Possibility, powered by Shopify.
Hey, people want to start up their own online store. No better way to do it than Shopify.
Shopify. All right, just to give a quick update on Kanye West.
Okay.
And his war with Adidas and Gap and reality, really. He is now walking. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this?
Nope.
His sandals?
Nope.
Not the slides that I have that you make fun of. All right. He's walking around showing up to A-list fashion events in bedazzled flip-flops. All right. And it's like they're like other than the diamond-studded flip-flops, he had a relatively normal Kanye outfit on. But look, I'll just say, okay, he's wearing a gray hoodie, massive beard. He's got a big old beard, like the kind of beard you have when shit's not okay, though. Not like a well-kempt, like, I'm just growing out a beard, but I have my shit together beard. Like things have hit the fan beard. And a leather shirt, and then another leather shirt tied around his waist, and matching leather pants. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I don't care how far into the future you're thinking. Nobody is dressing like this. That's so much leather, dude. Like, none of us can put, like, we're regular people walking around living our lives. We can't wear leather shirts with another leather shirt tied around our waist and matching leather pants. But even if we could, like, this is coming from a straight dude with his nails painted and who has been a massive flip-flop advocate his entire life. I'm not sure this is happening, man. I don't think, even I can't get on board with this. The diamond-studded flip-flop, it looks like something a middle school girl would rock to the pool. And that's nothing against middle school girls, but there's like a time and a place for that shoe, and it isn't here and now for you, Kanye. Boo. It's not. Let's just not do this. I just don't think it's don't try to make it happen. Like, he tried to make those massive Red Wing rain boots happen. You remember those rain boots he wore for 6 months that were like knee high? And I was like, yes, cool for a toddler, for sure. But like, you're a grown fucking man, and we cannot get away with wearing. I'm on somewhat of his wave. All right, I don't dress up like a grown up, right? I get it. I understand, but there's also a line, and I understand that his job is to push that line. But he's stopped being good at that job. And never has it been more evident than him trying to get us to wear bedazzled sandals, Jared.
These are like, oh, I went on vacation to, like Panama City Beach. Holy
blacked
shit.
the fuck out.
Well, I was thinking, holy shit, I forgot flip-flops. Let me go into the nearest surf shop, and these are sitting right by the register. You're like, okay, whatever.
And I'm blacked the fuck out.
And I'm going to...
So I'm going to buy these.
And I'm going to, not bring them home with me.
Yeah, you leave them in the hotel room.
Yeah.
Put
them in the garbage disposal.
On
your way out.
I don't know, man. Don't think it's going to happen.
So, in 2 years on StockX,
I'll be paying $260 for some fucking bedazzled sandals, apparently. That's where...
Do you wear socks with them?
That's where I'm at. Dude, okay. Yeah, I'm so glad you asked, Jared. Because he's wearing what are called tabby socks, which make it look like you have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle feet. And they can't be comfortable. They're too Vibram 5-finger looking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And, look, I love the ninja look. Like, socks and sandals is totally cool to me. I don't have a problem with that. I don't do it often, but I do socks with the slides all the time.
You don't do socks and thong.
That's true, because that's crazy. Because that's a crazy person move.
Yeah, I agree. It's
a big-ass red flag. I'm a fucking nut. And the fact that there are socks that are made for people who live this insane lifestyle just speaks volumes about how off the rails society has gotten. Because there's enough of us that are that fucking loony that they're out here making socks for what? Tabby socks. Super practical and comfortable. Sure. Whatever, man. What the fuck ever. Speaking of clothes and merch, though, we have new clothes and merch on the bolenmedia.com/shop.
What a merch drop we're doing right now.
Wow. We've got the finishing cup. I'm holding one in my hand. I'm not going to finish in it right now because we're in the middle of a show, and that'd be very inappropriate. But that is it right there. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm holding it up. It's beautiful. It's classy, Jared. It's a gift you could give any member of your family. And this is the thing about the finishing cup. If you're like, how am I going to explain this? Then I give this to my uncle. How do I tell him? What is this? Say it's for finishers. People who finish. You don't have to say how. Finishing is important. Being a finisher is an important part of life. You can't just start, Jared. You have to finish.
A lot of people go, oh my God, one of my good friends is running either a marathon or a half marathon. And you're I want to get them a present. And now you have the present to give them, the finishing cup.
It's the finishing cup. And that's all you've got to do is you find a wholesome reason to explain it to people, and then you start giving them this. Now, we'll all know the real reason.
It's not 26.2.
We'll know what it's for. That's right, Jared.
Or
it's not.
13.1.
We'll know what it's for. They might not know. But the fact that at any time they could be using this and someone else could walk by and recognize what it's really for, that's hilarious to me.
I would say I believe that's an 11-ounce mug, but in my opinion, it's full when you get 26.2 ounces in it.
Wow. Fluid ounces?
Yes.
It's disgusting. Anyway, get your finishing cup at bolenmedia.com/shop. We've also got a great new In Therapy hat. I'm wearing the Ross Bolen podcast hat today. It's glorious. You can grab that.
Astroworld.
The Astroworld RBP hat on there. But the In Therapy hat is available now.
Those are flying off the shelves.
A lot of people buying them and finishing cups, frankly. But I've got mine. It's supposed to be here tomorrow, I think.
I'm going to say right now,
looking forward to wearing it.
I guarantee you people are like, they're lying to sell stuff. They're not actually selling finishing cups. No.
No. A weird amount of people have bought finishing cups.
I cannot believe that is by far the surprise of the merch drop. How many people are buying finishing cups? Look, are they all going to finish on them? What's the deal?
It's beautiful, classy, and hilarious. And I don't know why you wouldn't have one yourself, Jared. Get yourself a finishing cup, because the question remains, how could you possibly finish without one?
That's a good point.
Without a finishing cup.
You got to make that the quote on the website.
How could you possibly finish without one? Yeah, that's the finishing. That's the closing line there, the finisher. Finish him.
If you're a Formula One fan, I got some great Formula One designs on the Formula Bone shop
Formula
at
Bone merch.
bolenmedia.com/shop.
That's correct. Absolutely.
Just right now, just go to bolenmedia.com/shop, go to all, and just literally look through our entire collection.
Check it out.
Guarantee you find something. And if you buy something, you're directly financially supporting me and Ross and Cade and Bolen Media,
correct.
helping us be able to do this full time. It's a great way to support us.
We appreciate y'all. And another way to support us would be by going to patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast, where when you sign up, in addition to a boatload of other RBP content, you get a 10% off code for the shop, for bolenmedia.com/shop. So you'll get 10% off your order when you go in and get that merch. So I got 3 new mental health minisodes out so far this month on Patreon for the members of the Enforcer and OG tiers. One is about relearning to be happy, or letting yourself be happy. One is about dealing with depression. One is about preparing for anxious periods in your life. And I really enjoy doing those. They're a lot of fun. They're usually like between 15 and 30 minutes, the mental health minisodes. And again, they're only available to the $10 and up tiers, either the Enforcer or the OG, on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast, where other than that, Jared and I do an additional ad-free exclusive episode each week on patreon.com/Ross Bolen podcast. Drops on Fridays. Looking forward to doing one this week, J-Bone. Him and I will be there together. Other than that, I'll be back later this week. Just me here on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and the like. Go check out Oysters, Clams, and Cockles if you're watching House of the Dragon. The Season 1, Episode 6 podcast is out now. We also have House of the Dragon themed merch on bolenmedia.com/shop. What race is this weekend?
The Singapore Grand Prix, and my Singapore Grand Prix preview drops today.
Woo! Formula Bone F1 show available wherever you listen to RBP. J-Bone dropping his Singapore Grand Prix preview.
Grand Prix
preview today. Formula Bone F1 show. Subscribe, rate, review. Most people watch on YouTube. He's got how many subscribers on YouTube now?
70K.
70,000. It's a big number.
Oh, yeah.
Formula Bone F1 show on YouTube. Go check it out. Go watch now. Follow us on social media. We're on TikTok at the Ross Bolen Podcast, Instagram at the Ross Bolen Podcast, and Twitter at Ross Bolen Pod. Follow Jared at Jared Borislow on Twitter and Instagram, at Formula Bone on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. I am Ross Bolen. Follow me at WR Bolen. Follow Bolen Media everywhere. Go to bolenmedia.com to check out our whole company. We appreciate you. Thanks for being here and listening and supporting us. Until next time, peace be with you, and also with you.